Hey guys, my name is Simpzy. How you all doing? Welcome to some Total War Warhammer 3 battle gameplay. In today's video, we're going to be checking out a cinematic land battle on the Husk Desert map between Cathay and the Ogres. Then after, we'll be showcasing Cathay's unit roster. I've got to say a huge thank you to the Creative Assembly for sending me over some footage, which was recorded by one of their devs to showcase on the channel. They've sent me over a bunch of footage, so expect more battles, sieges and videos to come out over the coming days. And please take into consideration that progress on Warhammer 3 is still in development, and there might be some things that are subject to change, so bear that in mind. Right, well, let's get stuck into it. Now, I'm not playing this battle, so I have no idea about the result. So you would have seen the Cathay Sky Lantern in the beginning. Currently, there is constant barrages of fire rain rockets. They're kind of like the Hellstorm rocket batteries. The Ogres are slowly but surely pushing up the hill. The Cathay players put a pretty decent defensive position, taking the high grounders there, but here come the might of the Ogres. The Jade warriors are holding a pretty decent piece of high ground for now, and they're going to be pretty hard to knock out of their position. The Jade warriors actually have rather decent armor, and they've got this passive ability which can make them stay quite long in melee combat. The Ogres are currently flanking on the right side with their Mornfang cavalry, but for now their Sky Junk seems to be covering them quite well. What's at the back here? Oh, this is one of those Stonehorn monsters. It should have a crossbow, yeah. It's a missile range unit, so it can be chucked into combat if need be, but it can sit back and rain fire of death upon the enemy. We do have a lot of archers and others around the back. We've also got some crane gunners, if you can see them just to the left there. They're kind of like the Jezels. So the crane gunners seem to be doing quite well. They've got a really decent angle here on the Mornfang cavalry that flanked and wrapped around. Oh, who do we have over there? Oh, that's some Celestial Dragon Guard. Pretty decent Halberd unit, decent against anti-large, and they've got decent charge defense, so they're going to hold up against those Mornfang cavalry, and if any other big, well, larger ogre units go on in. Oh, unfortunately here, some of the artillery of the fire rockets there is just getting wiped out by some ogres. Oh, they're actually really focusing on the crossbows and the artillery further at the back. What's going on this right flank? Nothing too much, but fierce fighting and chaos is still hanging in and around the center. Meow Ying has gone into dragon form as well. The Terracotta Sentinel is tanking everything in the middle as the Jade warriors have, looks like, capitulated into the center, or mostly they're quite fractured. But look at this, the Terracotta Sentinel, my god, causing terror and really holding the line quite well. So here we've got Ying in dragon form, and she's taken out a lot of ogres with her. It's going to be a close one. I actually don't know who's going to win. It's not looking good for the Cathay player. Artillery neutralized. Jade crossbow units as well. Although they've taken up the high ground in a pretty decent position. Raining rocket artillery to soften the ogres up and try and whittle down their hit points. They have really seemed like they've taken no damage. The Sentinel still battling with their giant, trying to bring it down. Poor couple of Jade warriors there fleeing from the fight, but the Terracotta Sentinel is still absolutely tanking everything for them. Alright, what's going back on this left flank? It looks like they've recovered slightly. Some missile, crossbow, infantry doing well. The Sky Junk is still throwing down some support to the Sentinel and to the Storm Dragon, let's say. And maybe even some of the Ogres are retreating. The Sentinel's been knocked down. I think it's actually been destroyed. Oh no. Yeah, the Sentinel is gone. However, the Fire Lantern is still putting down some pressure. So, unfortunately, it might actually be a Cathay defeat. But I don't know how the Ogres are going to neutralise these aerial units, to be honest. They're not going to have much missile about them. Yeah, here's the Crossbows that are recovered. They're still putting some pressure on the Ogres that have pushed up and over the hill. Where they're hiding in the grass here. Bending the knee. Trying to arc their shots up and over. But it looks like, so far, it's probably going to be an Ogre victory, unless a miracle can get pulled out here. The Gunners are doing quite well. They're still holding, and some of the Jade Halberds and shields have recovered. Yao Ming is still carrying it quite a bit. But the Mournfang cavalry is all but routing at the moment. And maybe even a couple others as well. Maybe they might be able to pull this back. Maybe Cathay have recovered. And it looks like they have. Although the brave Terracotta Sentinel has fallen. It looks like Meow Ying in dragon form has probably saved the day. As the Ogres are now in a full retreat. Oh wow. Yeah, that's a GG for the Ogre. That was a good little battle. I quite enjoyed that. I definitely thought it was going the Ogre's way, but Cathay have managed to pull it out the bag. Maybe due to artillery and aerial supremacy. Okay, so welcome to Cathay's unit roster. So, let's go through all the stats. You're most welcome to pause and have a look. So we've got the Jade Warriors here. Harmony of Yang. They're an armoured and shielded unit. But also, guys, please take into consideration that this is sort of still an early access build, and Warhammer 3 is still in development and progress, so things are subject to change, of course. So we've got the Jade Warriors Halberds here, which are an armor-piercing and anti-large unit. And here are the abilities that are currently on these units. Their health is 8,000. Alright, pushing on down to the Celestial Dragon Guard. These guys have the added bonus of being an infantry unit that have a charge defense against all, which is quite decent. And the Battle Harmony of Yang gives a nice leadership buff as well. We've got some Peasant Archers. I don't think we saw any of those in that last battle, but they are expendable. They're a decent kiting unit, and they have very weak armor. So if you just want to sort of waste enemy ammunition and sort of phase and kite out a unit, they're probably your boys. Send in the peasants. So here are the Jade Warrior Crossbows. These ones actually survived quite a long time in that Ogre battle, and they did quite decent, sitting back, arcing their shots over the top. The Crane Gunners, that's what I like the look of. These guys look like Jezels. They've got some pretty decent and similar stats as well. Armor piercing, they're shielded. I'm definitely going to be using these a lot when I get my hands on Warhammer 3. So their missile strength is 33 as well. Here we have the Fire Rain Rockets, which we saw in the last battle just yet. They're kind of similar to the Hellstorm Rocket Battery, so you're going to be able to deploy them in a similar manner, which is decent. We've got the Grand Cannon. I think there might have been one of those in that battle. I couldn't quite tell. I think most of it was the fire battery, but there could have very well been one Grand Cannon in that last fight. Moving on down now to the Terracotta Sentinel, which tanked quite a bit and probably allowed the other Jade Warriors and Crossbows to recover. So he's a siege attacker, he can cause terror and fear, and he has the Harmony of Yang as well, with more melee defense. Alright, here's the Sky Junk. So there was one Sky Junk and one Lantern in the last fight, so they did quite well. There was not really too much the Ogres could do about it, except for they're like one missile unit from what I can see. So these guys can drop their bombs by the look of it. They're always flying. They're the Eye of the Dragon. And they have the Battle Harmony of Yin. Here's the Sky Lantern as well. The more expensive option of the two. Pretty decent range. 275 for a flying unit is awesome. So they're going to be pretty hard to break down, I think. So what have we got here? The Alchemist Wizard for Cathay. And here are her abilities, cooldowns, and augments as well. Searing Doom. A bombardment spell, that's what I like the look of. And there's some direct damage, hexes and whatnot as well. Metal shifting and a 15% missile resistance. And last but not least, we have Meow Ying, the Storm Dragon. She has the Wrath of Storm ability, the transformation into the dragon, of course, and we'll show that off. And she's got a 60% physical resistance as well. So it looks like there's a 30-second cooldown on that, and you can't use it too often. 65 magical melee attack, which is interesting. That's magical. But she is a wizard at the end of the day, so I guess that makes sense. Just adds that little bit more damage in the melee. Decent melee defense, leadership of course, and weapon strength, and a 25% spell resistance. So start the battle here. We have the Wrath of Storm augment, which gives 24 melee attack, and soon she'll be able to do the dragon transformation after the cooldown. So we'll chuck that on in, and she transforms into the Storm Dragon. There she is. And her leadership goes up, and a melee defense. And you get a free dragon. Basically, in your army build, which is fantastic. So unfortunately, guys, it's time to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this Total War Warhammer 3 video. And I've got to say a huge thank you to the Creative Assembly for making this video possible. I've got to say thank you now to this month's channel patrons and members, and play the outro now. Stay tuned for more Warhammer 3 and videos on the channel. Take care. Unfortunately, it's time to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Check out my social media links in the description below if you'd like to stay connected with me. Let me know feedback and suggestions for the video. Got to say a huge thank you to my patrons and channel members: Victor K, Sebastian C, Jordan K, Caesar L, Brian S, Tal, Liam B, Kyle P, Tom C, and Wyatt P. So thanks guys, my name has been Simpzy, much love from Australia, goodbye.